A 40-cent stock is mining a resource that can unlock 10 times more energy than all fossil fuels on Earth. It's rarer than gold, has 10 times more applications, and ever since scientists discovered it, classified it, and we began mining it, it's become a crucial element of the technology that powers everything we use. From the internet to streaming services to smartphones and electric cars. None are possible without it. Every major agency, NASA, the Pentagon, the DEA, relies on this critical resource for daily missions. And while demand is soaring year after year, the global supply of this already rare resource is dwindling. As a result, the United States government has issued an urgent critical resource warning because today, this is one of the most valuable liquids in the world. A single pound is worth up to $640,000. Compare this to 1 pound of gold, worth $32,000. 1 pound of platinum, worth $16,000. Or 1 pound of rare Thai cobra venom used to treat pain that's worth $153,000. This liquid is rarer and more valuable than all of them. But now the secret is out about all the incredible benefits it provides, and a massive shortage is taking hold. Experts say we could completely run out of this critical resource in only 20 to 30 years. This unique supply and demand imbalance has created an opportunity to invest right before scarcity intensifies, when we could see prices soar 10 times, 20 times, or maybe even more. This is the best kept secret in energy investing right now. Here's a glimpse at what this resource looks like and why its properties are so unique. I'll reveal the full video clip of what it is in 2 minutes. It's quietly growing scarcer every day, and prices are rising even faster. Bloomberg is calling it the most important resource no one is talking about. And a 40-cent mining stock has secured the most coveted land rights with 8 times profit potential as supply shrinks. You probably haven't heard of this business before, but very soon that will change because every major tech company and government agency will rely on it. And I believe shares could soar 700% or higher within the next 12 to 24 months alone. In just a moment, I'll tell you more about this 40-cent mining stock and why it's set to soar from a microcap to one of the fastest growing energy businesses in North America. But first, you need to discover what this critical resource is. And to do that, we need to go back to World War II, when a Russian scientist made a startling discovery. I'm talking about the physicist Pyotr Kapitsa. Kapitsa was born in Russia, where he became a scientist and an important member of Joseph Stalin's inner circle. Just before the Second World War officially began, Kapitsa was in his lab working on something that was about to change the world. He spent 6 years designing and building the equipment just to try an experiment like this one. This experiment consisted of testing a rare liquid no one truly understood at radically different temperatures. Kapitsa discovered something surprising. It didn't appear to have color or smell no matter what he did. And when he boiled it, this liquid didn't bubble. Once it reached a certain temperature, it made a solid glass jar leak, as if there were small holes in the bottom. This is real footage of the same thing that happened inside his lab. It's a solid glass jar, yet this liquid seeps through its surface. This liquid is 10 times less dense than water, which means it can literally climb up and over the sides of a dish if cooled down enough. And it's simply impossible to freeze it. But most surprising of all, when it's added to a metal, it instantly transforms into a superconductor, meaning it conducts electricity without any resistance. Kapitsa had discovered a breakthrough. It was the world's first superconductor and would create engineering discoveries we never saw coming. The world had finally discovered helium. Kapitsa won high praise and the Nobel Prize for Physics after his discovery. Today, helium powers all the most vital technology we all rely on. Our national defense wouldn't be the same without it. Missile systems would go dark. Rocket engines would shut down. Scanners that monitor radiation at airports, docks, and borders wouldn't work, and terrorists would be able to sneak nuclear weapons into America. Helium is also the reason we have modern medicine. MRI machines save 100,000 lives annually because they detect diseases early. And a single MRI requires 30 liters of helium that must continually be refilled. Plus, it treats respiratory ailments like asthma and emphysema. Drug trials wouldn't be possible without it. And here's something else you wouldn't expect. Helium is at the center of the microchip shortage. Semiconductors are in short supply in part because helium is critical to their manufacturing. We already don't produce enough helium, and we can't meet future demand unless we find more. Big tech isn't getting smaller, nor is our hunger for big data and smart devices. And all of it requires helium. A global computer chip shortage will shock the world if we don't find more helium. One of Intel's PhDs testified to Congress that our factories would not operate without it. The internet wouldn't exist without helium. At its core, the internet is a large network of underground fiber optic cables. There are over 550,000 miles of cables in America alone. The $12 trillion 5G revolution will add even more fiber optic cables, much more than 4G. And it all hinges on the ability to secure enough helium because fiber optics production requires an all-helium environment to prevent air bubbles from being trapped in the delicate fibers. And while helium enables next-generation technology, including saving lives and keeping borders safe, there is one exciting application helium is about to be used for. And once this happens, it will send stocks in this market soaring 10x, 50x, or higher. Why am I so confident? Because I literally wrote the book on energy investing. My name is Nick Hodge. You've probably heard of the famous For Dummies series. I wrote the all-encompassing Energy Investing for Dummies book. And I've helped my readers profit from everything from traditional oil and gas plays to breakthrough technologies. I helped my readers into a tiny Chinese battery company barely anyone knew of. But an investment by Warren Buffett propelled it to become one of the largest electric vehicle companies in the world, delivering over 20-bagger returns to those who got in on my advice. Then I recommended a tiny lithium miner that was trading at 15 cents a share. Just a few months later, this tiny stock was acquired for $2.60 a share by a larger firm. We made nearly 15 times our money, which is good enough to turn $10,000 into over $175,000, all in a matter of months. In 2020, with oil the cheapest it had been in years, I told readers it was time to start investing in it once again. I recommended buying Reconnaissance Energy Africa when it was trading below 60 cents. Oil prices surged higher shortly after, and Recon Africa grew as much as 1,600%. I've helped small investors capture big profits for over 15 years now. It's my biggest passion in life. I grew up in a middle-class family with two hardworking parents who always seemed to be worried about money. But I was committed at an early age to achieve financial freedom through strategic investing. And I've done it. I became a multimillionaire before turning 35 by making wise investments. Today, I'm telling you about what I believe is one of the best speculations in all of energy and mining, with 8 times gain potential within the next 24 months. Although this 40-cent stock is practically hidden from Wall Street and the financial media, it won't stay this way for long. In just a moment, I'll tell you more about this 40-cent stock, including the breakthrough application helium will be used for that could send shares rising 8 times or higher. But first, I need to show you what's happening with the price of helium recently and why this knowledge could make you lots of money. Take a look at this chart. As recently as 2018, helium sold for $100 per 1,000 cubic feet, or MCF. By 2020, it had more than tripled to over $300 per MCF. And recent private contracts have traded hands for nearly $700 per 1,000 cubic feet. I've personally spoken to executives inside this industry to validate these numbers. Some say private contract prices have reached as high as $2,000 per MCF. Compare this to gold, which is up 50% over the same period, or to crude oil, which is up 20%, or natural gas, which has actually gone down 17%. Helium's price rise beats all of them, and this huge price surge is sending helium stocks to new highs. Air Products and Chemicals is a large cap which sells gases for industrial projects. It's a huge supplier of helium. APD's stock is up 660% thanks to this booming market. Or look at Lind. Helium is a key component of its business. In fact, Lind just announced it's building a brand new processing plant just for refining this resource. Shares are up 563%. Then there's Desert Mountain Energy Corp. It's a resource company focused on the exploration and development of helium. Shares went up 3,100% in only 2 years. And these are just a handful of helium stocks. High-grade helium that is at least 99.9% pure is extremely rare and beneficial. NBC News calls it liquid gold to a host of industries. Just 0.0005% of Earth is made up of it, making it literally rarer than gold. It's only produced in North Africa, the Middle East, Russia, and select parts of North America. The New York Times says the global helium shortage is real. CNBC warns the worldwide helium shortage affects everything from MRIs to rockets. And NPR says helium prices are blowing up. High-grade helium is an extremely rare natural resource. America has experienced nonstop shortages over the past 20 years. In 2006, the increased global demand for helium led to scarcity. This led to delays and helium price spikes. By 2009, there was another helium shortage in America due to production not meeting demand. Americans were forced to ration. When 2012 rolled around, we were hit with another helium shortage once again. The government's decision to sell off its helium reserves led to uncertainty in the market and decreased supply. Then, between 2018 and 2019, helium prices soared as much as 100% from a new shortage. And that brings us to today. It's no surprise we are seeing scarcity send prices doubling since January 2022. Helium is soaring from this supply pressure. But there's another reason helium stocks are skyrocketing right now. Scientists are developing a new breakthrough technology, and once it reaches the market, it will revolutionize the energy industry forever. We are about to unlock a nearly limitless source of energy that is both abundant and readily available, and unlike solar or wind, it's not dependent on the weather. It doesn't produce greenhouse gases or long-lived radioactive waste either. Once this tech reaches the mainstream, America will no longer have forced allies like Saudi Arabia and the UAE. An entirely new energy economy will be created, minting new millionaires just like the oil industry did in the 1860s, or uranium in the 1950s, or lithium in the 1990s. Helium is the core of a new technology that could solve all energy needs in America. The breakthrough technology I'm talking about is nuclear fusion. Now, some confuse nuclear fusion for nuclear energy. Don't make that mistake. Fusion has been called the holy grail of energy, and for good reason. 1 kilogram of fusion replaces 100,000 pounds of coal. It can power 23,000 homes for a year. Bill Gates calls it the only carbon-free, scalable energy source that's available 24 hours a day. Together with Peter Thiel, Jeff Bezos, and Richard Branson, They've committed $1 billion to fusion. They know what I know. Nothing generates endless power without carbon emissions or radioactive waste like nuclear fusion. It can do this because it harnesses the same power as our sun and stars. The sun is nature's fusion reactor, where temperatures reach 27 million degrees Fahrenheit. Now, you probably learned in school that everything is made up of atoms. Inside these atoms, there are tiny things called protons and neutrons that stick together in the center. Existing nuclear power plants work by splitting apart heavy atoms to create energy. These atoms collide, splitting into lighter atoms, and release lots of heat and energy, but also radioactive waste. But when we take two very small atoms and put them together, they stick together and become a bigger atom. This is nuclear fusion. And it's helium atoms that are needed to do this. It's not just safer for people and better for the environment, but it creates reliable power Princeton University calls almost limitless. It's no surprise the US government and European Union have invested $20 billion to stay ahead on this technology. But no matter how beneficial and life-changing nuclear fusion is, it's nothing without helium. In fact, the dream of nuclear fusion has failed to become a reality for years because of this exact reason. We simply never had much helium to begin with, but this is beginning to change. Engineers have figured out a way to multiply our helium reserves, and it's all happening thanks to a 40-cent mining stock. I'll tell you exactly how they are helping solve the helium shortage in just a moment. But before I do that, I can't stress this enough. Helium could be the biggest wealth creator of the 2020s. Just look at how helium stocks have performed. First Helium soared 330% in only 4 months. Avanti Helium rose 1,590% in 6 months. A third company went up over 3,550% simply because it changed its name to American Helium. It never did anything meaningful in the space, and its website no longer functions. And yet this helium stock soared nearly 30 times in less than a year. This is why I'm calling helium one of the biggest wealth creators of the 2020s. No other stock or natural resource investment compares to this explosive growth potential. The proof is in the numbers. Remember what I told you at the beginning. A single pound of helium is worth up to $640,000. 1 pound of gold is worth $32,000. Helium's price has soared 7 times over since 2018. But if you think these gains are big, wait until nuclear fusion powers homes, offices, and stores across our nation. It could happen sooner than you think. Back in December, while most were worried about their Christmas plans, the Energy Department quietly made the biggest announcement regarding nuclear fusion to date. Up to this point, researchers have been able to fuse 2 atoms together successfully, a key component of nuclear fusion. But it has always cost more energy to do the reaction than the energy they get back. Net energy gain is when more energy is created than what's put in, and it has been the elusive holy grail of fusion research. But back in December, researchers met at a federal lab in California, a lab created in 1952 in response to the Soviet Union's first successful nuclear weapon. At this same spot, and with the help of high-powered lasers, researchers achieved the first net energy gain using nuclear fusion ever. It was a milestone moment for nuclear fusion. One physicist compared it to the Wright brothers taking flight. We now know nuclear fusion is scientifically viable. The next step is for this breakthrough to become commercially viable. Troy Carter, a plasma physicist at UCLA, says, "It's not really a question of time, it's a question of innovating and putting the effort in." This technology has the capability to power every building in your town, with the potential to be far cheaper than what we currently pay and in a dramatically safer way for our local environment. It will create a new generation of energy millionaires in America that resembles the first oil boom. But it all hinges on solving the helium shortage. Scientists say it's a required element for nuclear fusion to take place. And yet, we are running out of this valuable resource. Each day it's growing rarer and prices are inching higher. It's a dire situation. But a 40-cent stock you probably have never heard of before is working to solve the helium crisis for everyone. This small company is the first new source of North American production. It's drilled 7 wells and hit on every one of them, a 100% win rate. But most importantly, this 40-cent stock will be in production with its first helium plant this summer. 4 additional plants will come online in the near term, with more to follow. That's why this microcap could soar by the time July 1st hits. Their first well is expected to generate roughly $20 million per year in revenue. On average, natural gas production stocks fetch a value of 8.5 times revenue. So on the first well alone, I expect a valuation of about $170 million for this company, which is more than twice what it's currently trading. This 40-cent stock could double just from the first well, which is expected to come online in the coming weeks. Another well is expected to come online in the next 6 months, and it's expected to produce even more helium. If we value it conservatively, like we did the first well, we're looking at another $170 million in valuation. That's $340 million total, or a potential 4 times gain in 6 months. A third well will come after that and will produce twice as much helium per day. That's another $340 million. Now we're at $680 million in valuation. We're at an 8 times gain in 12 to 24 months. Remember, this is a conservative projection. There are many other factors, including that helium is much more valuable than natural gas and will likely get a higher valuation multiple. If the multiple moves from 8.5 times revenue to 10 times revenue, you're looking at a 10-bagger in 12 to 24 months. By July 1st, the launch of its first helium plant could send this 40-cent stock soaring. If you wait on it, you could miss out completely. Now, you've seen how helium is used for semiconductors, fiber optics, and MRI machines. It's also a critical element for space exploration. Liftoff for rockets can't occur without helium. 1 million cubic feet of helium is used in every rocket launch. And this 40-cent stock just signed a blockbuster deal with a well-known North American space company. Its name isn't public yet, but it could only be NASA, Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin, or Elon Musk's SpaceX. The important thing is, the sales contract for this 40-cent stock looks incredible. It's locked in a sales price that's nearly double the helium price this company originally budgeted for. And the space customer is purchasing a minimum of 58 million cubic feet of helium. To put it into perspective, 58 million cubic feet would fill the entire Empire State Building. And this is just the first contract for this 40-cent stock. We could see more announced in the weeks to come because dozens of industries need helium. We've seen patients push out their MRIs to a later date because helium wasn't available. University medical research has grinded to a halt. Chip makers have been forced to slow production. From welding to pipelines to airbags and more, helium is at the core of all of it. But the CEO of this 40-cent stock says global helium production is falling in a major way. And not even the U.S. government, which had its own helium reserve in Amarillo, Texas, will be able to solve the problem. Our nation's only helium reserve was sold off as an act of Congress starting in 2013. The final auction was held in 2018 and the reserve was never refilled. Before then, this reserve was where most of the world bought its helium. Its depletion is one of the reasons for the current shortage and why helium prices are spiking. But things aren't necessarily easier in the private markets. The oil and gas industry is booming, making it difficult for new entrants to acquire the equipment to drill for helium. The higher the energy market booms, the more difficult it is to drill for helium. Then there's the ultimate wildcard player, who could send helium prices soaring in an instant. A wild card that not even the U.S. government can predict. I'm talking about Russia. Russia controls 1/3 of the world's total helium. But due to its war against Ukraine, none of Russia's helium can make it to the Western world. In one move, access to 1/3 of the helium market was wiped away from Western companies, putting enormous pressure on supply and price. Thanks to Russia, we could see more hits to supply in the months to come. The Russian government recently took control of Air Liquide's helium plant located in Siberia. The French company lost almost $500 million worth of helium and equipment from this seizure. That's more helium for Putin and his inner circle and less for America, Europe, and others. Every time Russia seizes a helium plant or worsens their standing in the world, the helium supply gets smaller. You can count the number of North American helium producers on one hand. These are the only people working to increase our national helium supply right now. And this 40-cent stock now has 1 million acres of helium permits and leases, giving it massive supply to sell at record high prices. And there's no reason to believe prices will be coming down anytime soon. When this 40-cent stock first IPO'd, the price of helium was $98. It's shot all the way up to $2,000 since then. My research indicates it's not slowing down. And as the helium price rises, this 40-cent stock will soar. It's the first new helium plant in North America. Conservative projections show how it could soar 8 times in the next 12 to 24 months. And even if helium prices were to dip, which I don't believe will happen, the helium production business is based on contracts. Every new order with these high prices is locked in, which protects the 40-cent stock with an added layer of safety. Today, this small company is guaranteeing years of a dependable revenue stream by locking in these high prices. The CEO recently told me that all proposals from customers he is seeing are at or above existing contract prices. There will be more deals at these record helium prices to come. Now, you may be wondering, if advanced nations are running out of helium, how is this 40-cent stock keeping up with demand? The answer is exploration. No one is better at finding and purchasing helium properties than this 40-cent stock. Remember, its exploration team has a 100% hit rate in its wells so far. When I sat down with their CEO, he said they are exploring several new helium properties in the months to come. This is in addition to the government permits it just received for a new project in Alberta. This 40-cent stock owns one property with a 30-year supply of helium. And this enormous project is set to begin drilling later this year. All the preparations are underway right now. This single property could be the largest helium project in the world. Once it's fully up and running, the company behind it will generate more cash flow that it can reinvest into new exploration and drilling projects. This process will keep repeating as the stock potentially takes off from 40 cents to $1, to $5, $10, or even higher. Believe me, you don't want to miss out on what's about to happen with this small helium company. Now is the time to get in while the stock trades for less than $1 a share. While it's just a microcap, by the time their helium property begins production, which is expected this summer, it could be too late. So if you're interested in benefiting from this 40-cent stock, you need to get in before July 1st. The good news is, I'm making it easy for you to get started. I just wrote a new report called The 40-Cent Helium Stock That Could Soar 8 Times or More. Inside, you'll discover the identity of this fast-growing helium producer, the best way to invest, and my full analysis on why it's an urgent buy. You'll hear more about the nuclear fusion opportunity fueled by helium and why it's on the fast track to energy market domination. You'll discover the inside scoop on this tiny company's new helium discoveries and upcoming production from my discussions with the execs and geologists. In short, you'll get everything you need to invest in this 40-cent helium stock for big profit potential this year and beyond. All I ask in return is that you give my premium research advisory, Hodge Family Office, a risk-free trial. I created this service because it's what I wish I had when I first started investing. I know what it's like to invest without much money, but I also know what it's like to invest with money. There's no doubt in my mind the biggest disadvantage middle-class investors face isn't intelligence, courage, or even capital. It's their network. For example, one of Brazil's richest men, Mario Garnero, led my readers and I to big profits quickly. If you own a computer or rent a car in Brazil, it's because of him. Mario is the leader of Brazil's main merchant bank. My meeting with him netted my subscribers 244% on Brazil Resources, a company that Mario sat on the board of. Most middle-class investors don't have contacts like one of Brazil's richest men in their phone. And for this reason, they miss some of the most lucrative stock market investments. This is why many will miss out on the 40-cent Helium stock and the massive growth it could see. They just won't hear about it in time. Billionaire Ted Turner once asked me to join him on a private boat off the coast of California. Ted Turner founded CNN, TBS, and was at one point the largest private landowner in the United States. I joined him on his boat because we both saw huge profit potential with renewable energy, and we discussed ways my readers could make the biggest gains. My conversation with Ted showed me where the highest profit potential in this market was. Without meeting him, I may not have discovered these opportunities while there was still time to invest. Then there was the day I met former Secretary of Energy Spencer Abraham. He served under President Bush and was a former United States Senator from Michigan, but today is the chairman of Uranium Energy Corp. My discussion with the former secretary encouraged me to recommend Uranium Energy Corp to my readers. Subscribers made 128% from this single investment. This only scratches the surface of the super connected individuals I'm on a first-name basis with. It's taken me decades to earn the trust of people who've helped guide me to big wins. I'm not telling you these stories so you know about my personal life. I'm showing you why high net worth individuals have a serious leg up on small investors. It's the same leg up my subscribers receive from Hodge Family Office. Strategic intelligence from high-level sources is what led me to this Helium stock in the first place. I want to help you benefit from this tiny company the same way billionaire super investors have helped me. That's why I'm inviting you to accept a risk-free trial to Hodge Family Office. In the past 2 years alone, our readers have seen gains of 100% with Harvest Health and Recreation, 172% with Chicana Copper, 254% with Cucho Copper, 365% with Critical Elements Lithium. And before that, my readers saw even more winners, like 237% with Magna Gold, 241% from Ivanhoe Mines, 245% with Organovo Holdings, 333% with Almadex Minerals, 397% with BYD Company, and 426% with Alternate Energy Holdings, plus many more. A family office is how high net worth families grow and manage their wealth. Practically every billionaire has one, like Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and Warren Buffett, among others. It's how they use little-known investments and special strategies to grow their wealth and pass it down through generations. I didn't realize how powerful family offices were until I became a millionaire and needed one myself. It was only then that I realized anyone who had access to these tools could become richer much faster than I did. After a dozen years of leading one of the biggest financial publishing firms in the country, I set out on my own in 2020 to create something that everyone could use to generate real wealth in the stock market. With Hodge Family Office, I bring those services, previously reserved for the ultra-rich, directly to you and your family. Hodge Family Office offers long-term coverage of early-stage opportunities across all market sectors. It focuses on the tiny companies leading new trends and market shifts like the emerging helium shortage and positions in them early in their life cycle. It's where I first got people into electric vehicle stocks all the way back in 2008 that led to 20-fold returns. It's where I made people hundreds and hundreds of percent on 3D printing stocks in 2012. And it's where I've delivered firsthand insights week in and week out for over 15 years directly from some of the most well-known names in finance. We more than doubled our money on a biotechnology stock that Montel Williams was promoting. We made hundreds of percent from a gold company that billionaire hedge fund legend John Paulson is the largest shareholder of. He's the Wall Street legend the book The Greatest Trade Ever was written about. I've met, interviewed, and rubbed elbows with all these guys and plenty more. With Hodge Family Office, I bring investment insights and recommendations previously reserved for America's wealthiest families directly to you every week. And starting today, I'm going to share my most lucrative findings with you. I created this to show small investors how to kick conventional institutions to the curb, grow their wealth, and create their own streams of income, so they can live exactly how they want, without ever having to worry about bad jobs, worse bosses, or where their next paycheck is coming from. Here's how it works. Each month, I personally update you 4 times about what I'm speculating on in the markets. These updates include a model portfolio that reflects what I'm doing with my own money. Right now, this includes owning this tiny Helium stock. But with 12 other positions in the portfolio that I've personally selected for their potential to deliver multi-bagger returns, I'm constantly buying into new ideas and selling others to lock in profits. I also issue trades on macro themes, like major indexes and sectors, when conditions are favorable. You get buy and sell alerts with full rationale for each position, including timing and pricing. This rare combination of high reward, long-term speculation, and short-term positioning has created investment success for myself and thousands of members across the world. If you decide to give Hodge Family Office a risk-free trial today, I'll send you 2 special bonuses right now. The first is a special report called a Tier 1 PGM Gold Opportunity. This small cap stock is unique because it owns land in Brazil containing millions of ounces of gold, palladium, platinum, nickel, and more, all in the same property. These metals will continue to be in high demand for both their monetary nature and their use in emissions reduction battery technologies for decades to come. The Brazilian government prioritized it as a strategic minerals project, which allows for prioritized permitting and a significant tax savings. The chairman of this small cap acquired a project in 2007 for $100,000 and then sold it 10 years later for $418 million. My research indicates he is about to do it again. This stock just went public in July 2022, and it owns one of the best undeveloped projects for gold and nickel. I'll show you how to buy 1 share for around $3. It's all inside your first bonus, which is included as part of your Hodge Family Office subscription. Your second bonus will help you discover another high-growth small cap, a breakthrough stock barely anyone is paying attention to that owns the only patent for recycling polypropylene, or PP. It's what plastic chairs, baby bottles, Tic Tac lids, and plastic utensils are made of, and it's largely unrecyclable. Around 16 billion pounds of polypropylene waste is generated each year just in the US. Roughly 2 billion pounds of it is incinerated, and just 100 million pounds of it are recycled. This small cap figured out a way to separate color, odor, and other contaminants from plastic waste to transform it into an ultra-pure recycled resin. The company is constructing its first commercial plants right now, and when fully ramped up, it will recycle the equivalent of what the entire US now recycles annually. It's already signing joint ventures in South Korea, Japan, and Europe. By 2025, revenues could reach $500 million. That's almost what the entire company is worth right now. Its share price is down recently from the overall market sell-off, making right now an excellent opportunity to buy into a high-growth investment for cheap. I'll tell you this small cap's name and how to invest in my new report, The Recycling Startup Creating a $13 Billion Industry. This is your second free bonus for giving Hodge Family Office a try. Here's what else you get. Special report, the 40-cent helium stock that could soar 8 times or more. This is everything you need to know to invest in North America's first new helium producer. This microcap is positioned to soar from the global helium shortage. 52 weekly issues. Every week I chronicle the macro market from my unique contrarian perspective before diving into relevant sector news, company updates, and current buy and sell recommendations. A model portfolio that consists of up to 20 speculative positions that I've personally selected for their potential to deliver multi-bagger returns. And we're always adding more whenever we find a profit opportunity. Macro trades. This is not a trading service, but I just can't help myself sometimes when the right circumstances present themselves across any sector. The sentiment of these trades can also be a useful sizing and positioning tool for your larger portfolio. Recommendation reports. Every stock that goes in the model portfolio gets a full recommendation report with rationale and upcoming catalysts, including the 2 free bonus reports you'll get today, and a free subscription to my daily profit cycle newsletter that focuses on how to profit from the cycles within the market and the sectors within it. Plus, our library of special reports, including a Tier 1 PGM gold opportunity and the recycling startup creating a $13 billion industry. I'm giving you everything you need to hit the ground running right away. The insights I deliver at Hodge Family Office change lives. One subscriber by the name of Adrian wrote to me about one of my recommendations. He said, "Hello, Nick. I hope this email finds its way to you, as I would personally like to thank you for putting me onto the greatest junior gold mining investment I have ever made. I now have a substantial shareholding with warrants in a publicly listed junior who is still under the radar. Thanks, Nick." Brent told me multiple recommendations were big winners for him. Nick, I subscribed to your letter and have since enjoyed some remarkable gains in several of your discoveries. As a matter of fact, I couldn't wait to renew. Only a damned fool would have done otherwise. Please keep up this good work. And Garth made 9 times his money on a single play, telling me, "As a loyal member of Hodge Family Office, I wanted to thank you for your tremendous research and recommendations. I have much more than paid for my subscriptions. Per your recommendation, I had invested in Ely Gold royalties and am currently sitting on a 900% gain in less than 2 years. Thank you." You can create your own success story just like these readers did, and it can start for you today. You can begin hearing from me every single week with new ideas to increase your wealth. Now, I routinely charge corporate clients $20,000 or more to write a single report for them, and my high net worth members pay $5,000 to get access to private early stage deals. I run my own multi-million-dollar portfolio that includes stocks, real estate, hard assets, and crypto. And Hodge Family Office gives members a peek inside it. I'm fortunate to have built a network that includes some of the market's most powerful financiers and executives. With Hodge Family Office, those connections become your connections. Given the caliber of the research and, most importantly, the results, it's not cheap. Nothing really worth buying ever is. But I'm so confident this tiny helium stock will make my readers bigger gains than they can imagine. I want to make it affordable for you to give it a risk-free try. A full year of Hodge Family Office retails for $1,999. Like I said, I charge corporate clients $20,000 all the time to write special reports on companies. And considering this tiny helium stock could soar 8 times or higher, turning every $10,000 invested into $80,000, your earnings could cover your subscription dues in no time. But I want to give you a head start on your next investment. That's why I'm giving you a 50% savings today when you decide to join Hodge Family Office. You'll pay just $999. Now, this 50% savings won't be available for long. So please don't delay. By July 1st, the tiny helium stock will be in production with its first plant, and this 50% savings will likely be gone for good. By then, this tiny Helium stock could be over $1, $5, or even higher. So click the button below to ensure you get what I think will be the lowest prices on this Helium stock before all the institutional money floods in. And like I said, your cost is totally risk-free to you because your membership is backed by my 60-day money-back guarantee. Take 2 months to study every one of my weekly briefings. Take advantage of all the recommendations, including your 2 bonus stocks that could each pay for your membership several times over. Take that time to secure all the low-priced shares you want in the Helium company. Check out my books if you'd like, and see what you think. If you haven't changed your life, your financial future, or you don't see the type of results I've discussed today, just let me know and I'll refund 100% of your money. No questions asked and no exceptions. I'll even let you keep everything you received today, including your bonuses. That means the risk on your cost to join today is precisely 0, and you're looking at 8 times growth potential just on the Helium stock. After making millions on my own, Hodge Family Office is my biggest passion and my way of paying it forward. It's why individual members will never pay the same rates as my corporate clients. Click the button below to give Hodge Family Office a try. You can review everything we've talked about on the next page, or call our friendly customer support staff toll-free at 844-334-4700, Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time, and mention code HeliumBoom. As soon as you become a member, I'll immediately send you everything you need to position yourself for big gains. But do it before July 1st. After that, the upside for this tiny Helium stock could shrink dramatically.